Our manga begins with Asumu Amagasaki, who is the only son in a family of 7 famous sisters. While they enjoy the spotlight as idols, models, actresses, and influencers, he quietly supports them from the shadows, never asking for recognition. He believes that by helping them, he will eventually be accepted and loved as part of the family. But everything changes when he turns 18. He receives a message from his mother, asking him to attend a family gathering. When he arrives, he is met with the harsh declaration that he no longer belongs to their family. He can't understand what they mean by that and thinks it must be some kind of prank. Matsuki, the 5th daughter and a famous idol, openly mocks him, saying she's disgusted to have a useless brother like him. Mika, a model, agrees with what Matsuki said. Yachiru, a YouTuber, Futaba, the multi-talented second sister, and Io, an actress, also say that only elites belong to the Amagasaki family, not losers like him. Shiki, a voice actress, laughs along with them at Atsumu, and Nana, a singer, together with them they all agree, Atsumu is worthless. Their mother, Amana Amagasaki, president of a major entertainment agency, harshly declares that men are nothing more than filthy pigs who don't belong in the Amagasaki family. Atsumu is shocked that none of them deny it, and he begins to plead with them to reconsider their decision. He has done his best to support them, and they are the only family he has, but they declare that they never saw him as a family member. Amana explains that the only reason they ever kept Atsumu around was to fulfill a condition in their grandmother's will. Their only relationship with him was for money. To claim the inheritance, they had to take care of Atsumu until he turned 18. Now that the requirement is fulfilled, they see no need to keep him. They throw a birthday party not to celebrate him, but to mark his departure. Atsumu is shocked, as he had thought of them as his family from the start. He is told to leave his phone and work tools behind, everything he used to support them. As he places them down, his sisters smile in relief. Fighting back tears, Atsumu thanks them for raising him, even if it was all an illusion. That moment becomes his final, burned memory of the only family he ever knew. Cast out at 18, he walks away with nothing, unaware of the life-changing fate waiting just beyond this heartbreak. Atsumu wanted a normal life, but now he has no money or food, and his wish to have a normal life seems out of reach. The next day, he walks into the principal's office and announces his decision to drop out of school. Asuka, a popular idol, is already there, and she's not okay with it. She protests, clearly upset. After everything Atsumu has done to support them all this time, she can't understand why he would just leave. Asuka is the group leader of the #1 group of Japan, named Asterisk. It's obvious she genuinely cares about him. Her heartfelt remarks bring tears to Atsumu's eyes. Sakuya Ashiya gently asks Asuka to calm down, causing her to flush with embarrassment. The chairman then speaks, his tone composed, stating that the decision ultimately rests with Atsumu. Though she already understands the core of Atsumu's reasoning, she presses him for a clearer explanation. Atsumu avoids the question, mentioning that he has no reason. Hearing his response, Asuka grows frustrated, but he simply feels ashamed. At Yumikoshi Academy, a prestigious school where most students thrive in comfort, groomed for success in the entertainment industry, he feels increasingly out of place. With his decision to leave the industry, remaining here feels unfair. He's spent more time working than attending classes, and continuing to take up a spot feels wrong. Asuka then asks him how many people were involved in managing his family. Atsumu looks confused. Sakuya, annoyed, assumes there must be an entire team behind the scenes handling 7 famous sisters. But Atsumu quietly reveals the truth. He managed everything by himself. Asuka doesn't believe what she's hearing and gets upset with Atsumu. He tries to dodge the confrontation and asks why Asuka is even there, as being the chairman's daughter doesn't mean her involvement is needed. Before she can answer, her mom starts explaining that she told the bodyguards to inform her when Atsumu came to school, teasing Asuka and causing her to blush. Atsumu casually remarks that she looks cute, but she tells him not to call her cute again. With her twin-tailed hairstyle and standing there all alone, she really does. The mood shifts when Sakuya suddenly gets serious and asks what Atsumu plans to do after dropping out of school. He pauses to think, as he has never had time to live normally because he was too busy supporting his sisters, and then answers honestly. He just wants to enjoy normal youth. Sakuya agrees, respecting his decision, and suggests a new school for him. A few hours later, Atsumu arrives at the new place where he will stay from now on. Sakuya, his former school chairwoman, has arranged his new school and dorm. because she cares deeply for her students. However, she said something awkward, that doing this will help Asuka too, which he didn't understand. She also covered all of his expenses for school and the rent for his dorm, so Atsumu thinks about paying her back after finding a part-time job. He feels excited, hopeful that this will be the start of a peaceful school life. Atsumu is excited to attend new school and start his normal life. But on the way, he witnesses a gang of delinquents cornering a girl. He hesitates, thinking this town is not safe. He knows his body is small, and if he gets involved, he might get beaten up. But he can't ignore the sight of the girl getting hurt, so he goes to help her. Without thinking, he steps in and grabs one of the thugs' arms. The gang members are furious and tell Atsumu to leave. Atsumu thinks for a moment if he is interrupting something, but after seeing the girl's face, he knows that she is in danger for sure. He calmly declares that he doesn't want to hurt anyone, but the thugs aren't having it. They charge at him. Atsumu responds by using jujutsu, slamming one of them to the ground. Though it doesn't do much damage, his technique is sharp enough to intimidate. After slamming the thug on the ground, Atsumu proudly tells them it's one of the techniques in Aikido and asks if they want to fight more. He follows up with a warning, making it clear he's not someone to mess with. The gang panics and runs away. Atsumu is clearly shaken, but proud. It turns out he learned self-defense techniques while growing up, just in case his famous sisters ever needed protection, as there are stalkers, perverts, and even killers who want to hurt celebrities. But now this role of his is gone. Atsumu finally turns to the girl and sees her face for the first time. She thanks him. He freezes for a moment, struck by her beauty. She's stunning. Her features are delicate, almost unreal, and there's a quiet grace to the way she moves. To Atsumu, she looks like someone straight out of a dream. Perfect, like an angel. She reminds him of his idol sisters, the same kind of flawless charm that makes it hard to look away. Shaken, he can't help but think she's easily top tier, the kind of beauty that belongs on a magazine cover or a stage. Himeji, still crying, thanks him again, her voice trembling. She's clearly overwhelmed, but Atsumu gently pats her head, comforting her with the same calm tone he used with his sisters. The gesture makes Himeji blush, flustered by the sudden kindness. She reminds Atsumu so much of his sisters that he acted without thinking. Realizing he had to stand on his toes to reach her head, he quickly apologized. The awkwardness breaks the tension, and the mood between them lightens. They introduce themselves properly. Her name is Himeji Tsukiyo, and our lad muses that it sounds cute. He gives his full name, Atsumu Takasegawa, now using his father's family name. Suddenly, his stomach growls loudly. Embarrassed, he admits he only had nutrient jelly for breakfast and tries to play it off. Himeji, now calmer, offers to treat him to a meal as thanks for earlier. Atsumu agrees, and they head off to eat together. He's surprised when Himeji takes him to a cozy family-style restaurant instead of his dorm. She thanks him again, admitting she was truly scared. Atsumu humbly downplays it, saying it was nothing, that anyone would have done the same. But Himeji insists it was incredible and that she means it. He smiles, repeating that he just did what anyone else would have. As he begins to observe her more closely, he realizes that she isn't just cute. She has a well-shaped figure, she's tall, and carries a distinct aura. It's clear she stands out from others. People around them seem to feel the same. Himeji radiates an elegant, mature presence. Atsumu is stunned by her beauty. Meanwhile, their order arrives. Himeji has chosen a limited edition parfait, and Atsumu notices that she seems to love cute, girlish things. Despite her mature image, she clearly enjoys sweet and adorable treats. She takes pictures of the parfait, and people around them begin whispering, admiring both her beauty and how she enjoys the limited edition dessert. This attention dampens Himeji's mood. With tears in her eyes, she confides in Atsumu that her love for cute things feels out of place with her mature appearance, and it embarrasses her. That contrast makes her feel awkward, as if it doesn't match the aura people expect from her. Atsumu tries to cheer her up. He tells her it's an incredible combination, that a beautiful girl who likes cute things has nothing to be embarrassed about. In fact, to him, that contrast makes her even more charming. He assures her that just being herself makes her truly amazing. Himeji looks surprised but softly thanks him, clearly touched by his kindness. Atsumu continues, saying that her cute voice suits her perfectly. He even adds that her voice reminds him of his favorite VTuber. She looks startled for a moment, then shyly excuses herself to get some water. Atsumu begins to worry that he may have said something wrong. They soon shift the conversation to the family restaurant they're in. As they chat, Atsumu slips and admits that being in a family restaurant makes him a bit uneasy. He jokes that he's afraid someone might arrest him for sitting there, since he doesn't really have a family. Himeji becomes serious and gently asks if that's true. The mood grows heavier as Atsumu opens up. He reveals that he was abandoned by his family. His words are painful, and he regrets making Himeji cry as she listens. But he tries to lighten it, saying it couldn't be helped. He just wasn't useful to them. Himeji firmly disagrees. She reminds him of how he saved her, and in that moment, she saw him as a true hero. Both of them feel flustered, and he is glad he shared his story with her. Not long after, they part ways. On his way home, Atsumu quietly hopes he will see Himeji again. He wonders whether she might do voice work and decides to ask her if they will ever meet once more. After meeting Himeji, he feels as if the story of his youth has started in a way he never expected. That night, Himeji returns home and starts a live stream. Online, she's known as Hashizuki Kaguya, a popular VTuber, just as Atsumu had suspected. With her identity carefully hidden, she tells her viewers that something good happened today, but it's a secret. Then, with a playful smile, she dives into a game of Minecraft. Atsumu, though happy with his new life, still thinks about that day when he was abandoned by his family. He wonders how his family would be feeling right now after abandoning him, and wonders if they miss him. Meanwhile, back at the Amagasaki household, the sisters start insulting Atsumu now that he's gone. Matsuki, the fifth daughter, just laughs at the face he made after realizing his departure, along with the other sisters. She talks about the hilarious face Atsumu made when they announced his disarmament and laughs, saying they should have recorded it. The third daughter, Mika, adds that they feel freer now after Atsumu detached. He had restricted them from doing many things. For Mika, he made dietary food, although Mika thinks that she never gained weight, yet he still restricted her. Shiki, next, complains that he banned her from spicy food, saying it would hurt her throat. But now that he's gone, she feels free to eat anything. Then Natsuki says that he made selfie restrictions. Before posting any selfie, he would check it and make her take selfies again and again to get the perfect photo. But she thinks she looked good in any photo. For Futaba-chan, he imposed media restrictions and didn't allow her to use social media at all. 3 of the sisters remain quiet while this is being discussed, so the others ask them to speak. The first daughter, Io, reveals that he put role restrictions on her. He chose what roles she could do and what roles she couldn't. He even once turned down a role from a famous director on the spot. Hearing this only fuels the sisters' anger. The sixth daughter, Nana, who's completely obsessed with 5-san, doesn't care about anything else. She's just upset about that. The youngest, Yakiru, bitterly declares she never wants to see Atsumu again. Even their mother, Amana, joins in, calling Atsumu a nuisance and expressing relief that he's finally out of the way. She urges her daughters to fully showcase their talents now that nothing's holding them back. The next day, at the Amagasaki company office, the director's secretary, Kamiyuki, finally speaks up. She says kicking Atsumu out was a huge mistake. He was the one managing everything behind the scenes, and now she can't handle the workload alone. But Amana dismisses her concerns, saying it's all under control. She already has a replacement. That replacement is revealed to be an intern named Harima Rima. Yuki is stunned. She questions how Rima could possibly handle 7 top-tier celebrities by herself. But Amana brushes her off, claiming it should be easy. After all, Rima is from Yumakoshi Academy. She then mocks Atsumu again, downplaying all his work. He just managed 7 girls. If a loser like him could do it, Rima definitely can. As Amana walks away, Yuki is left in stunned silence. It hits her just how deeply they all underestimated Atsumu. Overwhelmed with guilt and sorrow, she breaks down in tears, devastated and wishing more than anything that he would come back. Back at school, Himeji catches the attention of the male students, who whisper about how stunning she is. Rumors about her beauty quickly spread. Known for her quiet demeanor and striking looks, she's earned the nickname Ice Queen, as most students have never seen her speak to anyone. Meanwhile, Atsumu wakes up at exactly 4 a.m., a habit he can't shake after years of overworking for his 7 celebrity sisters. Back then, he had to wake up early to manage their schedules, often running on just 3 to 4 hours of sleep. He goes for a morning run, lost in thought. Memories of life with his demanding mother and sisters weigh on him, how he pushed himself to exhaustion every day for their benefit. Returning home, he prepares breakfast, only to find it's still just 6:40 a.m. Time feels painfully slow. Yet there's a quiet joy in living alone. As he eats, he recalls Himeji's voice. It sounded oddly familiar. He thinks to himself that if he had a phone, he might have watched a VTuber just to hear a soothing voice like hers again. With a quiet sigh, he hopes his new school life will be different, peaceful, maybe even a little kind. Later in class, Atsumu introduces himself using the Sakasegawa family name. His arrival causes quite a stir among the students. Many react loudly and curiously. And being the center of attention makes him nervous. However, not everyone is pleased. One student clearly looks irritated. Atsumu has now officially transferred into a new Heron private high school, and the environment feels very different from his old school. This is a small, not-so-famous school, but it has a decent number of students. The fact that Atsumu is from Yumekoshi Academy has been kept secret from even the teachers of this school. The teacher assigns his seat, and as he walks to his seat, that same irritated student suddenly stretches out his leg to trip him. But Atsumu calmly sidesteps without reacting, walking past without causing trouble. The student, Konguriki, is visibly annoyed. His energy feels confrontational, as if he's challenging Atsumu to a fight. Atsumu, staying composed, apologizes in case he has unintentionally offended him. The teacher notices the tension and tells Riki to sit down, but he stares at the teacher with such intensity that the teacher immediately backs down, intimidated. Meanwhile, Atsumu notices that Riki's pants are torn and assumes he must be upset about it. In a sudden burst of odd inspiration, he whips out a sewing kit and quickly patches them up with surprising skill, adding a tiger sticker on the knee and a bee on the thigh. Riki is furious. Not only was the repair unsolicited, but the ripped pants were part of his personal fashion statement. To him, these actions feel offensive and humiliating. Worse, Atsumu acts like he's doing a good deed, completely unaware of the offense he's caused. Feeling embarrassed and annoyed, Riki quietly sits down to end the moment, but the damage is done. Deep down, he vows not to forget this humiliation and begins plotting a way to get back at Atsumu. And then the unexpected happens. Atsumu goes to his assigned seat and sees Himeji sitting right next to him. He greets her warmly and asks for her cooperation in class. She politely responds the same, accepting the request. Their interaction stuns the other students. It's the first time anyone has ever heard the Ice Queen speak to someone so openly. The classroom grows quiet as everyone hears her voice. One of the students blurts out that it's the very first time the Ice Queen has ever spoken in class. Atsumu is visibly surprised to learn that Himeji has such a nickname. He hadn't realized that others saw her that way, so distant and untouchable. Even during his busiest days, when Atsumu was overloaded with work and constantly insulted by his family, he always found strength by watching Kaguya's live streams. Her voice and presence gave him a sense of peace, a push to keep going. But as his days became increasingly packed with responsibilities, he stopped watching as often. And now, as his life has taken an unexpected turn, he is back in school. Atsumu is surprised and happy to be seated beside Himeji again. He quietly enjoys the moment, but notices that the other students are staring at them. The whole class seems shocked, especially because Himeji, who's usually silent and distant, has started speaking. Atsumu is the reason behind that change, which only draws more attention. While reflecting on the situation, he notices the keychain attached to Himeji's bag. Curious, he wants to ask her about it, but before he can, other students begin glaring at him out of jealousy. Feeling pressured, he steps back and stays quiet. Later, during lunch break, Himeji and Atsumu go on the school rooftop, her usual lunch spot. Atsumu feels relieved, knowing they won't be disturbed there. As they sit together, he gently asks her why people call her the Ice Queen. She hesitates at first, but eventually opens up. She explains that she's very shy and not good at talking to others. Even when someone speaks to her, she often goes completely silent. Because of this quiet nature, wild rumors started. Some even claimed she was a royal heir or something mysterious. And so the Ice Queen nickname stuck. Atsumu listens carefully and understands. Himeji also shares that she sometimes feels conflicted about herself. Seeing this, Atsumu kindly offers to have lunch with her on the rooftop every day. Himeji lights up at the idea, happy to have someone like him around. Atsumu says they'll use these lunch breaks to help her become more comfortable talking with others. Then he jokes that it's funny how Himeji can speak so fluently during live streams but struggles in real life. Himeji awkwardly admits it's true, and in that moment, a sudden realization hits both of them. Atsumu looks at her and guesses that Himeji is actually Hoshisuke Kaguya, the very YouTuber who used to motivate him. She blushes, shocked that he figured it out. Embarrassed, she admits that yes, She is indeed Kaguya. She's curious though, how did he figure it out? Atsumu explains that at first he wasn't completely sure, but over time, little things started adding up. What she said during her live streams matched her real-life preferences. Her voice was also exactly the same. All the clues slowly pointed to the same person, Himeji. She lets her guard down for a moment. After all, this is the first time someone has genuinely spoken to her so naturally. But the key detail that gives her away is the mascot keychain hanging from her bag. It's the exact mascot from her live streams. Realizing this, Himeji accepts it silently, knowing she slipped up. Meanwhile, Atsumu is thrilled. That keychain is his own design. He's the person behind the username V, a loyal viewer of Himeji's streams. When she hears this, she's surprised but happy. V-san, the familiar name she had always seen in chat, turns out to be Atsumu himself. Their eyes meet, both of them flustered but smiling softly. The mood is awkward but sweet. Then they return to the earlier topic, why Himeji, who can talk so freely during her live streams, struggles to speak in real life. She quietly admits that maybe it's because her streaming persona isn't really her true self. She explains further, she's afraid of who she is. She wants to be small and cute, to embrace that softer, sweeter side of herself. But in reality, she feels it's impossible. Atsumu realizes something. Kaguya, her VTuber persona, is actually Himeji's ideal version of herself, a reflection of what she truly wants to be. And with that realization, he makes a decision. He declares to himself that he will help her become genuinely cute and confident. After school, the two of them head out together to the mall. For Atsumu, it's a new experience, walking with a friend after school. He's happy, enjoying the simple joy of companionship. Himeji, however, is slightly caught off guard when he casually refers to her as a friend. She blushes at the thought. They stop by a cosmetics store and Atsumu offers to help, just like he used to with his younger sisters. There, they meet Hamaguchi Haruko, a clerk who once dreamed of becoming a makeup artist but settled for this job to stay close to her passion. Her ordinary day brightens when the two walk in looking like the perfect high school couple. She immediately notices Himeji's natural beauty and feels a twinge of envy. When Atsumu asks to try some makeup samples, Haruko assumes he's just a supportive boyfriend. To her surprise, Atsumu begins applying the makeup himself. At first, Himeji panics, worried he'll mess it up. But his technique is steady, graceful, and unexpectedly skilled. Haruko watches in awe as he works with the ease of a professional, transforming Himeji's look into something elegant and refined. By the time he finishes, Himeji looks completely different, stunning, confident. She can't even believe her own reflection, amazed at how much her look has changed. She compliments Atsumu with a bright, heartfelt smile that completely captivates the room. Other girls in the store take notice. They begin to gather around Atsumu, impressed by his makeup skills and eager to talk to him. Himeji, watching from the side, suddenly feels jealous. In a bold move, she walks over, grabs Atsumu's arm, and loudly declares that the two of them are on a date, before driving him away. Atsumu is stunned by Himeji's sudden declaration about them being on a date. Once they reach a quieter spot, Himeji shyly explains that she couldn't stay silent. She didn't want anyone ruining the time they were spending together. Her voice softens, and both of them suddenly grow flustered. Atsumu, still amazed, praises Himeji for speaking so naturally. Himeji admits that it's all thanks to Atsumu. He's the reason she's able to talk more comfortably now. They go shopping for clothes, grab some food, and enjoy a fun, relaxing time together. They also pick up some cosmetics. As the tension fades, they walk side by side, enjoying the peaceful afternoon. But their calm is short-lived. The same delinquents from before, the tall 180 centimeters guy and his group who had cornered Himeji, show up again. They block Atsumu's path, clearly angry to see him with Himeji. Meanwhile, back at the Amagasaki agency office, things grow tense in Atsumu's absence as Rumi struggles to manage the schedule on time. Across the room, Yuki Kame, the agency's secretary, feels quietly devastated about what happened to Atsumu. He was expelled from his own family and fired from the agency, despite being the one who constantly went above and beyond for their work. Yuki doubts whether Rima can even keep up with Atsumu's pace. At that very moment, down at the TV station, Rima finds herself being scolded by Matsuki, who angrily demands that Rima take responsibility for almost ruining her image. Matsuki, known for her flawless professionalism and for never being late, feels that her reputation is now at risk. Rima tries to defend herself, explaining that she had indeed attempted to wake Matsuki earlier, but Matsuki simply didn't respond. Rima insists that it isn't her fault. However, Matsuki snaps back, arguing that if she failed to wake up, it only proves Rima didn't try hard enough. Before the tension can escalate further, a staff member enters and informs them that break time is over. Matsuki, still visibly irritated, takes a deep breath and immediately shifts into her cutesy idol persona before returning to set. As the center of the immensely popular idol group Prism, Matsuki, fifth daughter of the renowned family, is famous not only for her striking looks, but also for her bold statements and positive energy that inspire her massive social media following. Left behind in the dressing room, Rima reflects in silence. The harshness of the industry begins to sink in, and she wonders if she truly has what it takes to survive in this world. Yet she steadies herself, reminding herself that this is a rare and valuable opportunity. Later in the car, Matsuki unexpectedly asks Rima to do her makeup. She hesitates, confused. Surely this is the job of a professional makeup artist, not hers. But Matsuki gets angry, claiming that as her manager, Rima should be able to handle it. She remains silent, thinking to herself that even for professionals, doing a full idol's makeup is no small task. She wonders who could even pull something like that off, until Matsuki angrily remembers Atsumu, who used to do her makeup effortlessly. Annoyed, she forces Rima to do it anyway and threatens her again. Or she wants her to get late again. That night, Matsuki fumes alone in her room. She's angry and embarrassed because of Rima. She drinks heavily and enjoys the freedom she now has after pushing everyone else out of her way. She decides to post photos on her social media after being drunk. She goes to sleep while her social media begins trending. The next morning, Yuki receives an angry call from a partnered brand. The caller informs her that they're canceling the contract because of the idol's behavior. Stunned, Yuki investigates and uncovers the mess Matsuki caused. It becomes painfully clear that the recent chaos is all due to Atsumu's absence. Only now does the Amagasaki family realize that their success had always depended on Atsumu's presence and behind-the-scenes efforts. Meanwhile, Kongo confronts Atsumu head-on, demanding an explanation for why he is spending time with Himeji. His gang quickly surrounds them, their faces showing they are itching for a fight. Atsumu feels the pressure rising and wonders what has triggered such anger. Hoping to ease the tension, he explains they are just out enjoying the day together. He suspects that Kongo wants to tag along. The mood worsens when two of the delinquents point at Atsumu and insist he is the one who attacked them earlier at the store. Kongo cracks his knuckles, glaring as he accuses the transfer student of crossing his crew. He does not stop there, reminding Atsumu of the humiliating pants-patching encounter that still lingers in his memory. Atsumu tries to explain that he only stepped in to stop troublemakers, but his light-hearted offer to repair the pants again only fuels Kongo's rage. Snapping a toothpick between his teeth, Kongo seethes as Atsumu suddenly realizes the patches he had sewn were the true source of the fury. Blinded by anger, Kongo launches a wild punch, but Atsumu reacts with astonishing speed and slips out of harm's way. His gang cheers for their leader, while Himeji freezes in worry, fearing the fight will explode in front of everyone. Atsumu tries once more to defuse the situation, but Kongo's sharp glare silences him instantly. Muttering bitterly, Kongo demands to know what Atsumu could possibly understand about the shame of that day in class. By now, a crowd has formed around them, but his attempts to calm things down are brushed aside without mercy. Kongo finally reveals he is a karate black belt and promises that his next strike will land. Our boy realizes he can't avoid the fight anymore and prepares himself to face it. Atsumu clenches his fists and in his mind quietly apologizes, knowing there is no way around what must come next. In a sudden burst of speed, Atsumu blocks the attacks, then strikes with lightning precision, leaving Kongo stunned. The delinquent retaliates instantly, but Atsumu counters smoothly, deflecting the attack with perfect control. Using his opponent's strength against him, he twists the momentum and sends him staggering back. With one final decisive movement, Atsumu slams Kongo down hard to the ground, shocking everyone watching. Kongo lets out a sharp cry as the toothpick snaps between his teeth from the impact. The once dreaded delinquent now lies defeated in the middle of the plaza. Around them, the crowd watches in stunned silence, while Kongo's gang freezes, unable to process how easily their leader was taken down. Himeji's cheeks flush as she takes in Atsumu's unexpected display of skill. Snapping back to reality, she panics, knowing that they need to leave. Atsumu lets a sigh of relief, then drags Kongo along, while Kongo's crew is shocked. Later, both groups sit across from each other at a tense table. Kongo slouches between his friends, clearly sulking. Atsumu keeps his voice calm and suggests they try talking things out instead of using violence. He gently asks Kongo to explain why he blew up earlier, but the delinquent only glares in response. His friends note that Atsumu not only has strength on his side, but also spends time with the most admired girl in school. Finally, Kongo's composure cracks. He admits the embarrassment he felt in class and how he humiliated himself in front of Himeji. Fighting back tears of frustration, he confesses his jealousy of guys like Atsumu, who seem to effortlessly attract attention from girls. Emotion overwhelms him, and he admits he feels pathetic for losing so easily when all he wanted was to express himself. Atsumu is taken aback by the raw honesty of Kongo's confession. He observes the boy's tearful outburst and tries to understand his emotions. Atsumu recognizes that his friendship with Himeji-san unintentionally created the impression that he is more popular. Kongo continues to sulk, still absorbed in his own frustration. Looking at the group, Atsumu offers comfort, insisting that, from his perspective, they actually seem impressive. Kongo bitterly responds that their intimidating appearances have always pushed girls away. The three friends sit in silence, each feeling the weight of their own struggles. Atsumu gently asks if their looks are really the reason girls avoid them. Kongo says his tall height and serious face scare people away. One friend adds that his long hair and pale skin make him look creepy, while the other says his single eyelids make him seem angry all the time. The trio confesses that they adopted delinquent behavior because they thought it was the only way to gain popularity. Himeji gently chides them, explaining that aggressive tactics are not the right approach. Sheepishly, the boys apologize for their past actions. Admitting that their plan has failed, the three friends acknowledge Atsuma's understanding of their struggle. While they brood, Himeji quietly sips her drink, reflecting thoughtfully. Atsumu remarks that, in his opinion, their appearances are not as problematic as they believe. Himeji blushes, struck by an idea. Realizing that looks aren't the true obstacle, she taps Atsumu's cup to get his attention and recalls his impressive skills with makeup. With renewed confidence, she asks if he would be willing to give the three boys a makeover. Atsumu readily agrees with a bright smile, leaving Himeji flustered by his quick acceptance. The delinquents watch skeptically, but eventually consent to the surprising offer. Confidently, Atsumu readies his tools and begins his work. He unveils the results, waiting for their reactions. Their voices rise in astonishment as they process the transformation. He explains his approach. For Reida, he created a mysterious and elongated look that softened his insecurities. For Fuda, foundation and styling were used to give a warmer and more approachable aura. For Kongo, glasses were added to transform his harsh features into a kind and dependable expression. The three friends stare at their reflections, amazed at the strikingly different people looking back. Overjoyed with their new appearances, they celebrate their confidence and abandon their previous tough guy personas. Atsumu offers one final piece of advice. True confidence comes from learning to accept and love oneself. The trio quickly becomes devoted to him, calling him sensei in admiration. Himeji shyly expresses her gratitude for his help while the reformed friends watch in awe. Atsumu dismisses the praise modestly, noting it's nothing compared to his previous experiences, blushing lightly. Himeji looks at Atsumu with genuine admiration, realizing how much effort he puts into helping others. Atsumu turns to her and asks if she is no longer worried about Kongo and his friends. She smiles warmly and explains that she now understands their perspective and no longer fears them. Atsumu suddenly glances at the time and quickly apologizes for their date being interrupted by the unexpected makeover session. Himeji's eyes brighten, and she reassures him that it's perfectly fine, joking that now they have a reason to meet every day. Leaning in slightly, he repeats her sentiment, making her blush softly, her expression a mix of shyness and hopeful excitement. She shyly admits that she would love the chance to go out with him again. For Atsumu, the moment brings a feeling of calm and acceptance, so different from the hectic life he lives with his sisters. It's a rare kind of peace he doesn't often get to enjoy. Himeji, touched by his reaction, blushes again as she quietly feels happy to have made a difference for him. After the makeover session, the newly formed friends take a group photo, capturing the fun of the day before heading home. Atsumu thinks back on the laughter and chaos, realizing this is what a normal, carefree day feels like. Himeji looks at the photo too, her heart warm, hoping they'll make many more happy memories together. The next day, as the final bell rings, Himeji glances back shyly. Before Atsumu can speak, a confident lad steps forward, nervously asking her out on a date. Hamiji's eyes narrow with icy determination, and she flatly rejects him. Her calm but firm refusal seems to freeze the entire classroom, leaving him stunned, as if encased in ice. Whispers ripple through the students, many convinced that her harsh response proves the rumors about the unapproachable Ice Queen. Hamiji, gripping her bag tightly, feels flustered and unable to explain her true intentions. Blushing, she quickly clarifies that she already has after-school plans with someone else. With that, she hurries from the room, determined to continue her makeup lessons with Atsumu. She feels a pang of frustration with herself, realizing that yesterday's practice had not been enough to overcome her deep shyness. The rumors about her brief conversation with Atsumu had quickly escalated, spreading across the school and creating the false impression that she had suddenly opened up. As a result, hopeful students tried to approach her, only to be met with the same misunderstood rejection. On the rooftop, Atsumu gazes out over the city skyline, his mind focused on the perfect way to help her. He carefully applies makeup to Hamiji while offering guidance, all the while noting her racing heartbeat. On this secluded spot, far from prying eyes, they continue their daily practice sessions. Atsumu beams with pride, amazed at how quickly Hamiji is improving. They discover that makeup does more than enhance her appearance, it gives her courage to speak, a breakthrough she attributes to Atsumu's patient teaching. He begins showing her how to do it herself, but reassures her that he is always available as her personal makeup artist. Cheerfully, he reminds her that she can count on him because that is what friends are for. The word always sends Hamiji's thoughts into a flustered daydream, imagining something far more romantic. Though Atsumu is enjoying his new school life, one pressing problem remains. Hamiji still freezes during conversations, showing that her shyness is not yet fully gone. The narration shifts to Atsumu's own concerns, his finances. While the chairman covered his first month's rent, he soon must handle everything alone. Walking home, he notices his cash dwindling and worries about how he will find a job that provides money quickly. Suddenly, a luxury car screeches to a stop outside Heron High School. A familiar glamorous figure steps out with her bodyguards. She walks onto the campus, determined to find Atsumu. Meanwhile, Atsumu and Hamiji happily agree to walk home together, completely unaware of the approaching disruption. As they leave the school grounds, Atsumu notices a large, noisy crowd gathered nearby. Looking closer, his expression changes as he realizes who is at the center of the commotion. The famous idol is surrounded by fans clamoring for autographs and photos, the crowd pressing in around her. The sudden commotion overwhelms the crowd, and the idol sweats nervously under all the attention. Her eyes scan the group until they settle on a familiar figure, her intended target. Hamiji watches in stunned silence as the celebrity forces her way through the crowd, moving directly toward them. The girl is revealed to be Asuka, the lead vocalist of the popular idol group Asterisk. Ignoring everyone else, Asuka approaches Atsumu and announces that she has been searching for him. Whispers ripple through the students, many astonished that the new transfer seems connected to both the reserved Hamiji and a famous idol. Hamiji mutters in confusion, unable to comprehend what's happening, while Atsumu shifts nervously under the sudden spotlight. Speculation spreads among the classmates. Could Atsumu secretly be famous himself? Hamiji admits she doesn't know much about idols. One student explains that Asuka is the prominent center of Asterisk, causing Hamiji's expression to fall as she realizes just how famous the idol truly is. Atsumu notices the brief shadow of disappointment across her face. Cheerfully, he explains that Asuka was his only friend at his previous school. Abruptly, Asuka grabs his hand and insists they speak somewhere private. Pulling him away from the crowd, she leans close, her expression serious as she tells him she needs his help. Without waiting for further explanation, Asuka quickly heads off, dragging a bewildered Atsumu with her. The students left behind can only look in disbelief as the idol disappears with the transfer student. Hamiji freezes in place, her earlier plans for a quiet afternoon replaced with a sense of betrayal. Atsumu's words about Asuka being his only friend echo in her mind. They turn into sharp pangs of jealousy. She pouts in frustration and scolds herself for hoping too much. By the school gates, Asuka's luxury car waits. Atsumu is guided into the back seat. He demands to know why she wants him. She ignores his questions and firmly tells the driver to go. As the car speeds off, Atsumu starts to panic. He realizes he's being taken away by a celebrity. Asuka turns to him, her cheeks slightly red. She tells him to stop being formal and call her by her first name. The sudden closeness makes him flustered. His face heats up with embarrassment. He tries to speak, but she cuts him off. She says his past as a behind-the-scenes worker doesn't matter. Blushing again, she says everything she's doing is for him. Atsumu feels tightness in his chest as her words sink in. She wants him to become her official support staff. Asuka looks at him seriously and asks why he looks so surprised. She talks about his experience managing the 7 Amagasaki sisters. She says someone with his talent shouldn't go to waste. Atsumu humbly admits to his past but downplays his skills. Blushing deeply, Asuka says she trusts him. She wants him by her side. Atsumu feels torn. He wants a normal life, but her praise makes him feel proud. Seeing his doubt, Asuka makes a bold offer, immediate payment in cash. She leans in, grabs his hoodie, and looks at him with worried eyes, begging him to say yes. Her words hit him hard. This job could solve his money problems. Her pleading look and honest voice leave him unsure. At last, touched by her feelings and his own needs, Atsumu agrees to become her official support. Asuka, the famous idol and someone from Atsumu's past, has now taken him away. Sitting in the back of her car, he feels lost, not even sure what being her support staff really means. Suddenly, Asuka's face turns serious. She sharply asks about the girl he was with at school. Without thinking, Atsumu quickly says that Himeji is just a friend. He doesn't realize how much that reply hurts her. A flicker of jealousy flashes across Asuka's face. She repeats his words, just a friend, with a sharp tone that makes Atsumu uncomfortable. Guilt hits him as he remembers leaving Himeji behind, especially when they were about to spend time together. Asuka leans in, her pout possessive. She demands his full attention, reminding him that he works for her now. Her cheeks are red, but her voice is firm. She warns him to be ready, because she plans to take up all his thoughts. Flustered and unsure, Atsumu nervously agrees. As the car speeds through the bustling city, Atsumu's eyes wander to the giant billboards illuminating the streets. He struggles to believe that the nation's top idol treats him with such casual familiarity. He recognizes her as the undisputed center of Asterisk, yet he feels completely overwhelmed by the world she has drawn him into. Finally, the car stops in front of an enormous studio. Asuka confidently announces that they are here to shoot a promotional video. Inside, she tells Atsumu without hesitation that he will be responsible for doing the makeup for every single member of her group. Atsumu freezes in disbelief, his mind struggling to process the scale of her demand. Panic sets in as he realizes the task covers the entire group. He protests, insisting this isn't what they agreed upon. Asuka fixes him with a firm glare, reminding him that she has already seen his skills when he worked on his sister Matsuki during a joint performance. For her, there is no room for hesitation. Striding confidently into the studio, she leaves Atsumu trailing behind, unsure and anxious. Together they move down a bright, sterile hallway lined with vending machines, deeper into the complex. The filming director greets Asuka warmly, praising her for her upcoming song and predicting it will be a huge success. Asuka bows gracefully, expressing gratitude, and then declares with fiery determination that she poured her heart into the lyrics and will give the performance everything she has. Atsumu watches in awe, bowing alongside her, realizing how professional and composed she is in front of industry veterans. The weight of the director's praise presses down on him as the reality of the shoot sinks in. Asuka guides him to the dressing room, and at that moment, Atsumu finally understands she wrote the song's lyrics herself. Standing outside the Asterisk dressing room, she turns to him, her gaze serious, emphasizing just how important this shoot is for her career. Atsumu feels nervous and starts to panic. The thought of letting her down terrifies him, and he frantically argues that someone else would be better suited for the task. But Asuka cuts him off before he can back out. Her voice is firm yet passionate, insisting that his doubts completely miss the point. She tells him she chose him deliberately, confident in the remarkable skills he displayed while assisting his sister. Feeling a surge of confidence, Asuka turns the doorknob, certain that the others will welcome Atsumu without hesitation. She pushes the door open and announces with pride that she has brought their new makeup artist. But to their shock, they walk right into the idol group while everyone is still in the middle of changing. Both Atsumu and Asuka freeze instantly, their cheeks flushing bright red at the awkward sight. Asuka hastily shuts the door and nudges a completely stunned Atsumu back into the hallway. After a tense pause, he stammers out that he saw everything by accident, earning a sharp glare from the flustered idol. She rejects his apology outright, slamming the door once again. A few minutes later, the two carefully step back into the dressing room to find the idol group fully dressed. They bow together, offering a flustered apology for the intrusion. Suzukaze Suzuka, one of the calmer members, remarks that, as their leader, Asuka should have knocked first. Asuka bows even lower, taking full responsibility and apologizing sincerely to the group. Kurikan Kuwan softly tells her to lift her head, while Asuka admits, still flustered, that she can't shake her embarrassment. Another member scolds Kuwan for being too lenient, while Shino and Kuromi start debating the incident. Shino brushes it off as minor, but Kuromi shoots a disapproving glare. Midori then speaks up boldly, admitting she wouldn't have minded if Itsumi had seen more. Kozi reacts with a shocked gasp, insisting Midori's boldness is equally inappropriate. Asuka takes full responsibility, explaining that the situation is her fault because trust is essential between a makeup artist and their clients. Atsumu, meanwhile, silently panics, wondering how to repair his disastrous first impression. Luckily, Suzuka lightens the mood, suggesting they call it even and give the newcomer a proper chance to introduce himself. Gathering her composure, Asuka formally introduces Atsumu as their new makeup artist. The members respond with a mix of disbelief and surprise at the revelation. Anxiety fills the room when they learn their makeup artist is just a high schooler, and their first meeting was awkward. Koan steps forward, eyes sharp and firmly objects. She says that while she forgave Asuka for barging in earlier, this is different. Their next song is too important to risk mistakes. The visuals must be perfect, and trusting their faces to an inexperienced student who's seen them changing is unacceptable. Asuka's expression hardens. She says Koan's concern is exactly why she made this choice. Facing the group, she apologizes for the messy introduction and boldly says that Atsumu isn't just any student, he's the best artist she personally picked. Her strong defense surprises everyone. She promises they won't regret trusting him. Koan's glare softens into a mix of admiration and embarrassment. The others slowly begin to support Asuka. One by one, they agree to follow her lead. Atsumu clenches his fists, guilt creeping in as they place their trust in him. A cheerful member breaks the tension, suggesting they move past the awkward start and introduce themselves properly. With a smile and a clap, she encourages a fresh start. The pressure is heavy, but Asuka gently taps his shoulder. In front of her doubtful teammates, she reminds him she chose him for a reason and still believes in him. Moved by her trust, Atsumu feels new determination. He steels himself, then formally introduces himself and vows to give his all to support Asterisk. Asterisk is the most popular girl band in the industry, and now Atsumu has stepped into their world, all because Asuka trusts him completely. He's in charge of their makeup for the latest music video, a job that feels bigger than anything he's done before. Determined not to let Asuka down, he prepares to give it his all. The filming goes by in a blur. Before he knows it, the shoot is finished. The director and idols are thrilled with the results, showing how good his work is. On the brightly lit set, the crew celebrates the successful wrap of the video. Standing off to the side, Atsumu quietly thinks about his small part in such a huge project. The director smiles with pride, but Atsumu still feels like an outsider. Holding the script tightly, he reminds himself of the one thought that keeps him going: take it one step at a time. Asuka praises him in front of everyone, calling him by his last name with real respect. Atsumu panics under the spotlight, stumbling over his words. Asuka smiles gently, grateful even for his awkwardness. A cheerful member steps up and says they just want to thank him sincerely for his hard work. Atsumu blushes, not used to being appreciated like this. One idol points out that his makeup helped capture the most beautiful shots on camera. Even Kuon, who doubted him the most, gives him a quiet but honest thank you. Suzuka adds her own thanks, her calm face showing real admiration. Another member says his perfect work gives them the confidence to perform their best. Atsumu tries to deflect the praise, saying the video was a success because of the whole team. But Suzuka shakes her head. She reminds him how carefully he works, studying the lights and cameras before even starting. She says that kind of dedication makes him a true professional. Suzuka informs him that's why Asuka was proudly observing Atsumu. Suddenly, the director throws an arm around Atsumu and praises his perfect work in front of everyone. Then he turns to the idols and asks if they notice the other things Atsumu does on set. To Atsumu's surprise, the camera and lighting crews speak up too, thanking him for all the quiet support he gave during the shoot. The director grins and says that he has been helping the whole production team, proving that his skills and hard work go far beyond just makeup. The lighting, camera, and choreography staffs say that Atsumu helps them in ways no one expected. The idols are shocked, realizing that his support is far more than just doing makeup. They begin to wonder who he really is. Asuka smiles knowingly, showing that she has been aware of his hidden talents from the start. Then she drops a bombshell, revealing that Atsumu was once the famous manager of the Amagasaki sisters. The entire set erupts in confusion, and everyone demands that Asuka explain what she means. Atsumu feels flustered as all eyes turn to him, and he struggles to explain his complicated past. The crew cannot believe his abilities. He is not just a makeup artist, but also someone who can handle lighting, production, and other behind-the-scenes tasks perfectly. The director steps forward and offers him a job, saying he can rely on him anytime he wants. Suddenly, a powerful woman enters the room, agreeing that hiring Atsumu is an excellent idea. Asuka smiles, clearly pleased to see her. The crew watches in confusion as the woman is introduced, Hoshikage Mikage, the president of Starliner, Asuka's entertainment agency. She explains that Asuka told her about Atsumu and that she watched the music video on her way to the studio. Atsumu feels surprised and slightly nervous as he realizes that this influential woman is the head of the agency. President Mikage studies him carefully, looking at his skills with an appraising gaze. She thanks him personally, saying his work shows a new side of Asuka that no one has seen before. With a confident smile, she extends her hand, ready to make him a formal offer. In front of the entire crew, she points at Atsumu and officially asks him to work for her agency. The production crew cheers, welcoming him warmly and showing excitement at having him on board. The director beams with pride, convinced that with Atsumu's help, they can create amazing results. Asuka reaches out to him, her voice filled with passion, saying they can reach even greater heights together. Atsumu stands stunned, trying to process the idea of working alongside the famous idol. He imagines her on a huge stage, dazzling the audience as a top star. But his thoughts immediately go to Hamiji, whom he left behind at school. He remembers her shy, hopeful smile as she asked if they could hang out again. With a heavy heart and firm determination, he decides to turn down the tempting offer. Asuka's confident expression falters, and her voice trails off in disbelief. Atsumu lowers his gaze, feeling a mix of guilt and resolve, and quietly apologizes as he officially refuses the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The president and director are stunned, unable to understand his sudden decision. He explains that he does not feel ready and that he has other priorities he wants to pursue. His mind goes back to Hamiji, and he admits that his real wish is to live a normal high school life. He bows deeply, sincerely apologizing to the crew for refusing the offer. President Mikage accepts his choice with a gentle, understanding smile, while the director nods quietly in approval. Asuka calls him an idiot, frustrated, but the president calmly dismisses everyone, ending the discussion. Asuka blushes with optimism, silently vowing that she will never give up on him. The director breaks the tension with a cheerful voice, telling the crew it is time to get back to work. The production team warmly offers him the chance to visit the studio and use their equipment whenever he wants. The Asterisk members also invite him back, their supportive words echoing in his mind as he thinks of Hamiji waiting for him. Atsumu thinks of Hamiji again, feeling a strong sense of regret for turning down such a huge opportunity. He apologizes once more to the crew, hoping they will still want to work with him in the future. He clutches the script, smiling with gratitude. The script, titled Hitomi No. 1 Inchi, has become his favorite as he feels a sense of accomplishment from it. In her car, Asuka feels disappointed. She had been certain that Atsumu would stay this time, but once again, he leaves. She thinks about what to do next and decides that next time she will make sure he doesn't walk away. She hopes he will enjoy the surprise she has prepared. As she recalls all the effort she put into it, she feels confident he would have accepted. As the car drives on, a determined blush spreads across her face as she imagines preparing a special gift for him. She is sure that this present will be the key to winning his heart. Looking back on the day, everything has been full of surprises, from Atsumu being suddenly pulled into the world of idols to working unexpectedly with Asterisk. It has been chaotic but memorable. The music video shoot turns out to be a massive success, even earning the praise of the A president. Despite the amazing opportunity, Atsumu chooses to return to his normal school life, taking things one day at a time. Later that night, outside his dorm, he feels a small but real sense of happiness. He finally has a new smartphone, something he has been without for a long time. The phone is a gift from Asuka, which means he can now watch his favorite streamer again. When he sees the wallpaper, his cheeks turn pink. It is a cute, winking picture of Asuka herself. Sitting on his bed, he feels grateful to finally have a phone after leaving his old life behind. He glances at the time and realizes that the live stream he has been waiting for is about to start. Atsumu sighs quietly, a little embarrassed, when he notices that Asuka has locked the phone, so he cannot change the wallpaper. The streamer Kaguya begins her Miocraft series, greeting her audience. Atsumu lies back on his bed, smiling as he watches. Suddenly, a shocking realization hits him. Kaguya is actually Himeji. He thinks about how long it has been since he last watched her content. On screen, Kaguya cries out in frustration because a thief cat, named Golden Twintails, has stolen her rare in-game grapes. Her expression is adorably annoyed, and Atsumu notices that he has never seen Kaguya this genuinely angry before. At first he tells himself he must just be tired from the long day. But as he watches more closely, he realizes something familiar about the Golden Twintails cat. His mind flashes to Asuka, and he understands that the cat is a playful reference to her. He feels a pain of guilt for leaving her behind earlier in the day. Atsumu resolves that he will properly apologize to her the next day and make things right. The next morning at school, Atsumu feels nervous as he prepares to make things right for leaving so suddenly. He tries to apologize, but Himeji, blushing, tells him not to worry about it. Then she admits that she was actually pretty upset when he broke their promise. Wanting to make it up to her, Atsumu offers to buy her some donuts as an apology. Her eyes shine with excitement at the thought, showing a different kind of craving. Her strong reaction gives Atsumu an idea. Excited, he tells Himeji he finally got something he's wanted for a long time, which leaves her confused. He then shows her his brand new smartphone, a big step in his new life. Himeji happily celebrates with him, and Atsumu feels a warm sense of connection, even though he usually lives alone. Casually, he suggests they exchange numbers. Himeji freezes, stunned and speechless. The simple request makes her heart race as she realizes what it might mean for them. Overwhelmed, she turns away and hides by the lockers, leaving Atsumu confused and unsure what's wrong. A deep blush spreads across her cheeks as it hits her. She'll be the first contact saved in his new phone. Later in class, her classmates notice her cheerful mood and begin whispering. Rumors about her spread quickly, but Himeji doesn't know why. The room buzzes with excitement as students react to the latest gossip. Atsumu winces in embarrassment, guessing it's because people saw him with the famous idol yesterday. The teacher's voice cuts through the chatter, announcing the arrival of a new transfer student. As the door slides open, Atsumu realizes he is no longer the only recent transfer. He and Himeji stare in shock at the familiar face in the doorway. The new student is none other than the famous idol Asuka Ashia, who greets the class with a dazzling smile. The boys in the room fall silent, stunned by the sudden appearance of the celebrity. While the boys are thrilled, Himeji's excitement quickly shifts to concern. The classroom erupts into chaos as everyone recognizes the center of the top idol group, Asterisk. Asuka enjoys the attention and happily confirms that the rumors are true. Once the teacher calms the class, she guides the new student to an open desk. To Atsumu's surprise, the empty desk is right beside him. Himeji's excitement fades as she sees the idol take her place next to him. Atsumu sits awkwardly between the two girls, realizing that this dream scenario feels more like a nightmare. Asuka winks at him playfully, asking if he is surprised to see her. He demands to know why she transferred, and she cheerfully admits she just wanted to be with him. Blushing with determination, she vows not to let him slip away this time, leaving him little choice but to agree. Then she turns to Himeji, treating her as a new rival for Atsumu's attention. Himeji glares back, keeping a polite exterior but hiding her jealousy. Asuka counters with a dazzling smile and cheerfully introduces herself to her rival. Flustered, Himeji tries to win back Atsumu's attention by suggesting they exchange numbers at lunch. Asuka watches with a smug smirk, clearly enjoying the chaos with Atsumu caught in the middle. She points out that the phone she gave him yesterday, revealing that her contact is already saved. This makes Himeji's request pointless. The two rivals lock eyes, their glares full of silent tension. Himeji feels flustered by Asuka's boldness and cannot match her confidence. A quiet war begins between the two girls, with Atsumu trapped in the middle. Asuka leans in and teases Himeji with a familiar nickname, but Himeji glares back, refusing to give in. Atsumu breaks into a cold sweat, realizing this tense moment is just like the one he saw during Kaguya's live stream. The rivalry mirrors the game, with the thief cat and streamer facing off in real life. He looks out the school windows, feeling his dream of a peaceful high school life shatter. Meanwhile, a storm hits the Amagasaki mansion where trouble brews. Inside the rain-soaked house, the idol sister questions her choices. Her messy room reflects her spiraling career. Her phone buzzes with hate messages, and she cries out, saying all she ever wanted was to be the best. The Amagasaki talent agency has already brought in a new intern to take the place of the brother they kicked out. They confidently believe their careers will finally soar without his strict oversight. But right now, an urgent phone call demands Matsuki's attention. Without her brother's support, the cracks in their carefully built empire are already starting to show. The fifth daughter, idol Matsuki, snaps into the call, annoyed by the interruption. Still lying in her messy room, she impatiently asks what the caller wants. On the other end, the new intern, Rima, panics, warning her that things are quickly spinning out of control. Matsuki scoffs at the warning, dismissing the intern as just a rookie. She angrily complains that the call disturbed her sleep. Rima insists frantically that it is an emergency, but Matsuki doesn't pay much attention. Then the intern says something that finally grabs her focus. Matsuki is trending on the internet. A smug, satisfied smile spreads across her face. She enjoys the news, believing her plan to go viral has finally succeeded. Confident, Matsuki assumes her selfie is the reason for the attention and convinces herself she never needed her brother's guidance. Her mind fills with wild fantasies, imagining a rapid rise to the very top of the idol world. But her celebration stops abruptly when she sees the real trending news. It's about her rival, Asuka. The article praises Asterisk's new music video, leaving a stunned Matsuki struggling to understand what is happening. She seethes with anger, dismissing her rivals as nothing more than calculated performers. She tries to brush off their success, insisting her own viral fame is all that matters. With a crazed glare, she vows to beat their news and prove she is the superior idol. Then the real headline hits, revealing a career-ending scandal. She has been caught with alcohol while underage. Her triumphant smirk shatters into pure shock. Matsuki's eyes widen in horror as she realizes this one mistake could destroy everything. She panics, recalling that she thought she had hidden the kin carefully from the camera. In a fit of rage, she waves a stick around her messy room, her anger reflecting her unraveling mental state. Matsuki clutches her head, admitting she was careless and not paying attention. The source of her downfall is clear, a single can of beer carelessly left in the shot. The headline confirms her worst fears, and she realizes her career is on the line. Panicked, she considers that there might still be a way to fix it. With a manic grin, she decides the solution is simple: delete the photo. She moves confidently to erase the evidence, convinced this will make the problem disappear. But just as her finger hovers over the delete button, another call interrupts her plan. Matsuki answers, annoyed, wondering what could possibly be so urgent now. It is the rookie intern, Rima. Matsuki brushes her hair back, feeling she has already handled everything. Rima desperately tries to explain how to handle the scandal now spreading across the news. The intern panics, warning that deleting the post without an explanation will only make things worse. But Matsuki smugly insists it's too late. She already deleted it without thinking twice. The intern's words hit hard. Deleting the post is the same as admitting guilt. Outside the mansion, the storm rages, but inside, an even bigger one is growing. Her phone starts buzzing nonstop, a sign that her problems are just beginning. Hundreds of notifications flood the screen, each one another threat to her career. Matsuki's confidence shatters, replaced by the horror of her mistake. The nonstop alerts become overwhelming, pushing her to the edge. A tidal wave of online hate crashes down on her. Her carefully built image falls apart. Matsuki throws a tantrum, screaming that her fans should forgive her no matter what. Trapped in her room, she can't escape the attack on her reputation. Matsuki feels crushed and throws her phone across the room in frustration. She hopes it will stop the buzzing, but the notifications keep coming, reminding her of the public's anger. Tears stream down her face as she curls up on the floor, wishing the hate would stop. Overwhelmed by the scandal, she feels lost and can't see a way out. The next morning, the city seems calm, but the consequences of her actions are only beginning to unfold. Inside the Amagasaki Talent Agency, the president's office is already in chaos. President Amana stares at the latest news report in disbelief, demanding to know how such a disaster could happen. Her secretary, Kamiyuki, reports that Matsuki has locked herself in her room, refusing to answer calls or messages. Amana frowns, frustrated that she had given her daughter freedom, never imagining it would lead to such chaos. Cammy confirms that Matsuki is ignoring everyone, shutting herself off from the world. The president cuts to the chase, asking immediately for the full details of the financial damage. The secretary reluctantly shares the numbers, which now surpass a staggering 100 million yen. She warns that in order to recover, the other Amagasaki sisters will have to work even harder. Amana's frustration isn't about Matsuki's state of mind. It's about all the luxury items she could have bought with that money. Kenmi watches silently, realizing her boss values profit far more than family, deepening her own contempt. Her attention shifts to the new intern, wondering how the girl is handling the agency's sudden chaos. Meanwhile, the eldest sister, Io, discusses the scandal calmly, unsurprised that Matsuki has messed up once again. The rookie intern Rima listens nervously, worried by the tension and unable to match Io's cold detachment. Io declares bluntly that Matsuki has no one to blame but herself. Rima hesitates, voicing concern, but Io dismisses her, seeing her sister's recklessness as all she is known for. Io then asks the intern for the materials for her next acting role. She flips through the script with obvious disdain, complaining it's far less detailed than what she is used to. The intern hands it over nervously, unsure if Io has completely given up on her troubled sister. Rima stammers, asking if the script really is all she has to work with. Io confirms it is, while Rima struggles to imagine what complete materials would even look like. She remembers their former manager, Atsumu, who provided exhaustive notes on line delivery, expressions, and deep character psychology. The realization shocks her. His preparation was far beyond industry norms. Io scoffs at the idea, questioning why she would need to study the script so closely. Her cold glare reveals arrogance, dismissing all the careful work her brother once did. Turning away, she asks if the intern expects her to waste time on unnecessary details. She claims an actor's job is simple, just recite the lines. With that, she begins preparing for her shoot, ignoring Rima's concerns.